Hi, this is week 8. I'm Cheryl, and we've been working through our shoulder issues together. I hope you're feeling a lot more confident, that you have a lot of new information about how to move your shoulders. Maybe you want to get back to some of your daily activities now. Maybe you want to go to a yoga class. So what do you have to remember in order to get back to full body activities and not re-injure? Okay, here's my plan. I start with a joint freeing before I do a hike, a yoga class, go swimming. I always do a quick joint freeing. I do have some videos. I'll put the link in the comments. I do have some videos where you can do a more expanded joint freeing practice. Highly recommend it. But I'm going to go really quickly now to kind of give you an idea of how to warm up joint by joint so that the shoulders don't get hit with any surprises. So we're going to be using a chair for this. You don't have to use a chair if you're comfortable getting down on your hands and knees. If you have no restrictions in your spine, such as osteoporosis or arthritis, then you don't need a chair. But I like to show these things so that they're applicable to the majority of our population. So I'm just going to have that chair in place. I'm going to start in a standing position, and as I said, I'm going quite quickly. I do hope you investigate the full videos on this. Establish your breath. Everything we do in yoga is breath-centered. If there's no breath talked about, then it's not yoga. Inhale, lift and separate your toes. Exhale, toes into the mat. So we're just moving toes right now, not anything else. My fingers always try to help. Good. Roll on to the outside edges of your feet as you inhale, inside edges of the feet as you exhale. So you're broadening the base of your feet into the ground. Good. Now you may need the chair for balance here, but as you inhale, come up onto the balls of your feet. Exhale, see if you can lift the balls of the feet. So we're rocking along the length of the feet now. And then holding onto the chair wall, if you need to, rotate your ankle in one direction and then back in the other direction. Other foot, ankle circles. Good. Excellent. And then back to here. Now we're going to work a little bit with the knees. Straighten the knee. Exhale, bend the knee. Pain-free range of motion. Remember, your shoulders do not work alone. They're at the top of the chain. So as we visit with each one of your joints, we're building a more true, a more solid, a foundation with more integrity. Good. Now we're going to move into hip movements. As I said, I'm moving quite quickly here. We do have videos that break this down a lot more. Inhale, leg out to the side. Exhale, stand. Try to keep your knees and toes facing straight ahead. And then we'll move to the other leg. Notice I'm only doing about 3 breaths with each side. And as you get more practice with the movements, it really doesn't take long. And it gives your shoulders a lot more confidence when you step out into your activity. I'm going to turn sideways for the next movement. You're fine where you are. I just want to show as you flex the hip and extend the hip, you're standing straight up and down. You're not throwing your body back and forth. You can inhale one way and exhale the other way. Good. After about 3 breaths, switch sides. Notice the knees and toes are still facing straight forward. The temptation is to point them out to the side, I think, in order to get more range of motion. But we're just waking the muscles up, reminding the muscles of how to move to keep us safe. We have one last thing to do for hips and shoulders. Or hips, I should say. As you inhale, turn the kneecap outwards. Exhale, turn the kneecap inwards. So you're rotating the leg bone in the hip socket, keeping the hips steady, just moving the leg. And after about 3 breaths, doing the other side. So I'm not saying these movements are easy. They're simple. but they actually isolate muscles that might not have been doing their full job before. So over time, you may find you're building up more stability and integrity in the muscles. When you're ready, we're going to come to take table pose on the chair. We did this in one of our previous videos, and we're going to do our cat-cow like we did before. We're moving into mobilizing the spine now. So we've done the legs, the pelvis, now we're doing the spine. So remember, we keep our knees slightly bent, elbows slightly bent. You can be hands and knees if that's really easy for you. Inhale. You want the chest to melt towards the ground, shoulder blades to come towards the spine. Exhale, shoulder blades separate, belly tucks up. Not too much movement in the head, a lot of movement in the thoracic spine, just like we did before. You remember this part. Good. Now I'm going to continue to use my chair. It's very difficult for us North Americans, if you're watching this from North America, very difficult for us to sit cross-legged on the floor in perfect alignment. We didn't grow up that way. We grew up sitting in desks at school and work. So I find to really work with the spine effectively, taking this position is much more safer and actually more effective. So we're going to come into our side bends. Remember, we did that before with the strap. You can use the strap again, or you can do it this way. I'm a little teapot. So inhale, and as you exhale, let all of your tea slide out of the spout. Inhale, come back up to an upright position, and exhale, I'm a little teapot. There you go. Being as heavy with this arm as you can. And then the other side. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears on both sides of your body. Good. And last thing, a little bit of gentle rotation. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, take your spine so your heart faces towards the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, heart faces towards the left. It isn't a deep twist by any stretch. Just feeling out how you can rotate comfortably, keeping your shoulders relaxed, keeping your pelvis square on the chair, and just moving that middle part of your body. This is spinal liberation we're working on here, not how sexy you can get with your twist, not to Instagram it, just to kind of move that spine. Good. So now if we stand up, do you feel how you've really woken up the whole lower part of your body? We're going to start talking about shoulder range of motion now, but the shoulders have full working partners all the way down. So let's move our chair out of range so we can work into what's going on with shoulders in a yoga class or in some of your other activities, so you can keep your shoulders safer. Now you've done all this work to get them back and functioning. Let's talk about range of motion of the shoulder. This is called abduction and adduction. Looks pretty simple. As you lift the arm up, different muscles lift the arm to here, and then on up. So it's kind of 3 different sets of coordination that has to happen there. So when people come to me and say, I can't lift my arm up, there's a lot going on. No wonder you got tired. So let's see if we can work with one arm at a time. I'm going to start with my happier side. And I'm going to just float up on the inhale 1/3 of the way. Notice how floaty, how easy that can be. Notice the top of the shoulder staying down and relaxed. Good. Good, good, good. Now if you're feeling any pinching or inhibition here, we have to go back to some of the other videos and lay more groundwork. So your body is telling you what it needs. Will you listen this time, or are we going to re-injure our shoulder? So you may have more rehab work to do. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way your body is now. Now, we could go to the second third of the movement, as long as we can keep this part of the shoulder down and there's no pinching here. Inhaling. Notice how the palm has to turn up in the second third. Okay, now if that's going okay, and there's a lot of complicated messaging that has to go on for that to be a smooth movement, be patient with yourself if it's not there yet. It will come, I promise. Now we can go the final third all the way up. But like I said, that's a different set of coordination required to go that final third. Is there clicking? Is there clunking? Is there danger signals? Listen to them. Notice what's happening on the other side of your body. Is something jumping in to try to get involved? How's your breathing? Are you holding your breath or forcing your breath at any time? Okay, that was the easier side for me. I'm going to move to the more difficult side. Now, you know, if you do a yoga class, there's a million of those movements where you have to lift your arms up. So it's worth breaking this down and really smoothing out that range of motion. Inhale, float 1/3 up. Exhale, relax. Soft, soft, soft. Soft, soft, soft. It's almost like as the rib cage expands on the inhale, it bumps the arms out. Progress slowly. It could take several times with this video till you want to do the second third of this. This is my sore side, so I'm listening very carefully. Not all days are happy with me. The angle of the arm to my body, it might need to be a little forward, it might need to be a little bit backwards. So I'm listening very carefully there. And then it might be a day where you could do the final third of the movement. So this is your abduction and adduction. When we've had a rotator cuff injury, it does show up in this movement, even though it's not a rotation per se. Okay, so we work through abduction and adduction. We're ready to look a little bit at extension and flexion. I'll turn sideways, you don't have to. I just want to show, we want to brace a little bit through the body, create stability through the body, as we've talked so many times. So feet really planted, a little bit of engagement through the belly, the fronts of the ribs knitted together just a little bit. So there's a sleeve going through our core here that keeps the stability. As you inhale, draw one arm back. Exhale, float it up. So if we draw the arm back, we're not bowing out the back. We're keeping the back steady and just floating the arm. One more time. Now with a rotator cuff injury, that's more likely than abduction and adduction, but there's other things that could be going on that prevent you from doing that motion. Let's try this side. Inhale. Exhale, listening very carefully. If there's clicks, there's clunks, there's restrictions, honor that. Now here's something you might want to think about if you're going to go to your yoga class. If you lift your arm up and it doesn't come back behind the ear easily, then downward facing dog's off the docket for today. You'll be forcing your shoulders and could put yourself back into a risk of injury. So you'll take a modification like a child's pose or ask your teacher for a modification for down dog. The last motion that we'll look at is our internal and external rotation. We've done that lying down many times, but we haven't done it too often from standing. So this is cactus arms. The elbows can be in a little bit more towards your body if that's easier. On the inhale, you pull the hands apart. On your exhale, you rotate under. You might want to do one arm at a time, especially if rotator cuff was your issue. And again, keep the tops of the shoulders down, away from the ears. Feel the shoulder blades moving on the back. Good. Standing for a moment, noticing how alive and awake your body might feel. So let's take this into a little bit of a full pose. Warrior pose and other kinds of poses where you have to hold your arms up come up a lot in yoga. So you can stay with parallel feet if you're still dealing with hip and knee stuff, or you can come into warrior 2 legs. We've done this before. And a lot of times people come into warrior 2 and they bring their arms up. They don't bring the arms up high enough. They bring them like this. So the arm bones, which are pretty heavy, are hanging off the shoulder joints, pulling on the connective tissue. If you've had a tear somewhere, this can put you into a danger situation. So one thing you might want to try is bringing your arms a little higher so the weight of the arm bones sinks back down into the shoulder sockets. You can even think about sucking the arm bones into the shoulder sockets, using the shoulder blades towards the spine to do that, and that might give a more sense of stability to the shoulders. If you're getting a lot of tension here and it's not a pleasant place to be, let's flip the palms, bend the elbows, and come into a bit of a Cleopatra sort of look. This might give you a lot more ability to draw the shoulder blades down the spine, create space for the neck, because often we'll turn our head in this position. So thinking about ways you can get the shoulder blades to do more of the work. Just so that we don't walk out of here all unbalanced, let's rotate through the left leg. Try warrior two on this side. Hands a little higher than the shoulders, see if that helps. You can suck the arm bones in, see if that helps. You can also bend the elbows, turn the palms up. Lots of room now to move the neck. Take a breath in and out. And then release. Last thing I want to look at is weight bearing on the arms. A lot of us want to get back to the gym. We want to get back to our plank poses, our push-ups. Maybe in yoga you want to do your full sun salutations again, but you're worried about having shoulder strength for weight bearing. There's a few tricks. We can use our chair again. As you come to weight bearing your hands, notice the alignment of your hands. You want your fingers parallel to each other, so the middle fingers are parallel to each other, index fingers, so you're not dialing your hands one way or another. That's going to take some of the energy, the integrity of the bone chain out of the arms. Then with the wrists, if it hurts to weight bear on the heels, you can put a little something folded, like a blanket or another yoga mat, under, so that it takes some of the angle out of the wrists. Those things can make you feel stronger in your arms. So when we come to weight bear, we've got the weight out into the knuckles, not just in the heel of the palm. The wrist creases are parallel to the top edge of your exercise mat. There's a slight bend in the elbows. And then I would like us to think about sucking up the arm bones again. So with pushing into the floor or the chair, the wall, whatever we're using, and using that rebound energy to vacuum up the arm bones into the sockets. This is going to take more energy up into the core. Can you feel the core activating when you do that? And then imagine drawing the hands closer together. They're not going to come closer together because they're stuck to the chair or the mat, but it's going to widen the shoulder blades on your back. You'll feel your back muscles kick in a little bit more. And above all, make sure you use your legs more. So if we take this into plank pose, just using our chair, we're going to make sure that the legs are really engaged. But maybe that's a video for another day. You did a great job waking up all of your joints in order. I hope you're standing with more confidence. As always, I suggest a little rest time for 2 to 3 minutes, longer if you can. And that completes this shoulder series. Let me know what you're looking for next. I have so much fun sharing this information with you. Namaste.